In this video, we're going to take a look at the Fade Relief tool. Now this only works on reliefs, so they have to be yellow, as you can see on the screen here. If you're trying to do this on a bit of floating clip art that's blue, it won't work. So to use the tool, select it on the top toolbar here, Fade Relief, and as soon as you click that, it'll open up and you'll see two white circles. Now these denote where the fade starts from and where it goes to. So the one on the left here is where it's starting from. The one on the right is where it's fading to. Now you can grab these with the cursor and you can move them around in real time. So let's say that I want it to end maybe down the bottom here, and I want it to start at the top. And you can see that that changes the fade direction. Now, if I want to change the strength of this, if you take a look down the bottom there, it's basically going down to nothing. So if I change the strength, you can see that I can make the fade more pronounced, or I can have hardly any fade at all on there. So if I keep that at 100%, now if I click reverse fade direction, it will basically reverse this and it will give me the opposite. So it fades at the top. Now that is a linear fade. So it's going from one point to another, just straight. Now, if I wanted to, I could do a radial fade. So if you take a look here and I take the strength down to 0, and then let's slowly bring that up, you can see that it's fading outwards. And for this particular design, it looks quite good, and it looks, in my opinion, better than the original. Now you can also do a reverse. So if I wanted it to fade down in the middle, I could do that. You can also do this between boundaries. So if I take a plan view of this, and let's say that I draw a couple of circles, let's say from the face there to this edge here. Let's say to there. So you can do this between two boundaries. So if I go between boundaries, and then what you need to do is select the vectors. So if I select the outside, and then select the inside. Let's turn the vectors off a second. What it will do, it will basically fade down from those 2 points. So if I do less strength, and then let's bring that up so you can see. So you can see it's fading down between there and there. And then when you're done with this and you're happy with it, always select apply. And this basically cements that onto the relief. And then if you finish, press cancel, and then that will accept the changes. You can also keep on pressing apply if you want to keep on doing this. So let's say, for instance, that the strength of the fade isn't strong enough. You can just keep on pressing apply, and it will just keep on going down until it's faded out. So that's done probably about 400% of a fade. So if I cancel that now, you can see that that's faded down. Okay, so where this really comes in handy is if you're trying to blend in two separate reliefs. So here you can see this sign that I have, and I want this graphic to be hidden underneath it. So what I'm going to do is paste this down first of all. So press enter on the keyboard to paste that down. And then what I can do is fade this. So it's only going to affect this prawn that I have on screen. It's not going to affect this blue section that I have here because it's not a relief yet. So if I go to fade relief and I want to do it, let's say from about there, let's say down to about, let's say there. So I just want the top of it coming onto the top of the actual sign base. Now, if I didn't want that, I can just adjust the fade. Let's say like so, and probably change the ends to be about there. And you can see that it's fading down. Now, the only problem with that is that you can also see that it's fading basically straight the way down, and it's also fading this area out here. So what I need to do is move that to be over there. So then I keep this section here. And then when you're happy with that, I select apply and then cancel. And then what I can do is paste that one down, and there I have my two pieces, and they blended in quite nicely. Now, what about if this prawn was going over the whole thing? So what I'm going to do is make that prawn a lot larger, so it's going over the whole of this side. Let's center that, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, say like so. And then this prawn, let's say that I want that to be, let's say about there. Let's try and sort this out. Okay, so let's paste that down, take a plan view, and then I could just basically remove it, but I don't want to do that. I want to sort of fade it between two sections. So what I'm going to do is draw a polyline around there. Okay, and then I just want something in the center, just so it's between 2 points. So now, if I go to Fade Relief, you can see it's trying to do it over the whole thing like before, from here to here. And what I'm going to do is between boundaries. So I want to go from that one to that one. Now, another way to do this would be to just basically delete it inside. But what I'm going to do is fade that down, select apply again, and then I can paste that down. Delete those sections. And there you've got another relief. So you can see that the fade relief comes in quite handy when you're merging separate reliefs together. So it's just another tool in your arsenal if you want to basically get them to blend really nicely.